am I? Who am I? Who am I? Am I still me? That's what I kept asking myself as I stumbled through the night in nothing but my underwear. My bare feet hit the cold hardwood floor, making me wince. What was I doing? Why did I take off all my clothes? I felt my way along the wall until I found a bathroom. I needed to get back into bed before Mom came out of her room. It was 3:47 a.m. according to the clock above the toilet. Why couldn't I remember anything? And why did it feel like there were hundreds of eyes watching me from the darkness? I leaned against the sink and splashed water on my face. The shock of the freezing water brought me back to reality for a moment. I looked at the pale reflection staring back at me from the mirror. Who was this person? She had no idea. As I turned off the faucet, my bedroom door opened. Emma, is everything okay? You're up late, Mom said sleepily. Yeah, just, can't sleep, I lied, knowing I sounded unconvincing. She must have known I was hiding something because she didn't ask any questions. Instead, she gave me a gentle smile and headed back to her room. Once she closed the door behind her, I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. What was wrong with me? Just a few hours ago, I'd been hanging out with Hannah and Chloe after school, laughing and talking about boys, but then suddenly I'd gone blank. All I remembered was that we were at my house, and now here I was, naked except for my underwear, in my own home, not knowing how I got there or what I've done since. I went back to my room and got into bed without waking up, even though I wasn't tired. My eyelids were so heavy they felt like anchors dragging me down. As I lay there trying to remember what had happened, I could feel my mind slipping away from me again. This time I didn't fight it. I let myself fall into the abyss of my subconsciousness and dreamed of being someone else. The next morning, I woke up in my bed fully clothed, but with no memory of the previous night. I got out of bed and went to the bathroom to look for clues. If I'd done something bad, I needed to know. Maybe I would find the answer on my phone. I unlocked it and went through my social media accounts, but nothing seemed out of the ordinary. No strange messages, no weird photos. I was about to give up when I saw that I had a new follower on Instagram. Whoever it was had been following me for a week. I recognized the username. It was the same one I'd seen in the comments section of my pictures. At first, it hadn't meant anything to me, but now I couldn't help but wonder if whoever was behind the account was also behind what had happened the night before. I wanted to tell my mom about it, but I knew she wouldn't take me seriously. Emma dear, you've been hanging around with those gossipy girls at school. I'm sure they've put some silly ideas in your head, she would say. There's no such thing as stalkers. Now stop worrying about it and go clean your room. So I decided to investigate on my own. But where do you even start when trying to find out who's stalking you? And what if it had nothing to do with the person who had been following me online? Suddenly, an idea struck me. I ran to my closet and pulled out my science project. I hadn't touched it since the day I'd finished working on it a month ago. But maybe if I checked it, I'd find out who had visited me in the middle of the night. My science teacher had made our projects due on different days so I could present mine last. That way, no one could copy my idea. Mine was also the last thing I remembered working on before I had the accident. I had designed an alarm system that could detect human movement and send a signal to my phone. Once I'd set it up, I'd be able to see on my phone whenever anyone entered my room. I followed my teacher's instructions and attached a small camera to the alarm. Then I hid the entire thing under my bed. Finally, I set the alarm and waited. Would I catch the stalker red-handed? Or would I find out it was something more simple, like a dream? As the hours passed, I started to lose hope. Maybe I really had been dreaming. Just as I was about to give up, my phone lit up. I quickly grabbed it and pressed play. On the screen, I watched as a figure appeared in my room. I couldn't make out his features because the camera's view was blocked by the legs of my bed. But I could see that he was tall. He walked over to my desk and started rummaging through my things. He was wearing dark clothes. The only part of him that wasn't covered was his face. I couldn't see who he was, but I could tell from his movements that he was smiling. What was he looking for? Was he the one who had taken my clothes off? Had he been the one who had forced me to drink alcohol? When he was done searching my room, he came back to my bed and started messing with my hair, but he stopped abruptly as if he'd heard something. He looked around and then disappeared into the darkness. I watched the whole thing with bated breath. Who was he? Why was he in my room? And most importantly, why did he look familiar? I immediately called Hannah. She picked up on the third ring. Hey, Emily, she said. What's up? Do you know who was in my room last night? What? How do you mean? Just come over here, please. I need to show you something. When Hannah arrived, I showed her the video. She watched it from beginning to end. Her face pale. Oh my God, Emma! I think that's... She started, but then stopped. What is it? What do you think it is? I asked, my voice shaking. It's probably nothing, she said slowly. But if it's not, then you need to be careful. That man is dangerous. What are you talking about? I asked. Why is he dangerous? I don't know, she whispered. But there's something about him that scares me. I'll protect you, Emma. You don't have to go through this alone. She hugged me tightly, and I could feel her warmth and sincerity. For a moment, I didn't feel scared. I had my best friend by my side, and together we would face whatever danger lay ahead. We talked for hours, coming up with theories about who the man in the video was. We looked through all my social media accounts again, hoping to find a clue, but it was no use. We couldn't come up with any answers. The next morning, I went to school feeling nervous. What if the man who had broken into my house was one of my classmates? What if he was watching me right now? As I walked through the halls, I couldn't help but glance over my shoulder every few seconds. But it was no use. The man was nowhere to be seen. At lunchtime, Hannah and I sat on a bench. Outside, we had brought our food from home so we could stay outside longer. What do we do? I asked. How do we find out who he is? We have to start at the beginning, Hannah said. Let us go through everything you posted on social media and see if you can find anything that might have led to this. And that's when I saw it. One of my followers had commented on one of my pictures, but the comment wasn't like the others. It was a threat. If you don't answer my questions, I will find you and then you will regret it. The comment had been deleted, but thanks to Hannah's quick thinking, we had a screenshot of it. With this new evidence in hand, I knew that we were on the right track. We just had to keep going. And then I saw it, the name that had been hidden behind the screen the whole time. It was a name I knew well. A name I never imagined would hurt me so much. To be continued.